the wizard, Mililli, Mililli. And as closed captioning was sort of messing up my name. Welcome to the Love Show, where we grapple with the question, what is love? Today we want to know, is love compassion? So what exactly is compassion? Merriam-Webster defines compassion as sympathetic consciousness of others' distress together with the desire to alleviate it. Is love sympathetic? Another love show. We have found here on the Love Show in our Is Love Consciousness episode that yes, indeed, love is consciousness. Apathy, the antonym or opposite of sympathy, is defined as a lack of emotion or emotional expressiveness. Sympathy is defined as sorrow or the capacity to feel sorrow for another's suffering or misfortune. I tried to leave the sorrow out of my sympathy. I'm a mom, and I used to run free kitchens. I have fed millions of people for free. Did I feel it? Did I feed them because I felt sorry for them? I tried not to. Though I have to admit, I fed a few people who had a really sad story. And their sad story brought them to need a meal from me. I'd like to think I fed all of those people because of consciousness and compassion. The two things, consciousness and compassion, way outweigh any sorrow. And after I fed hungry people, I always felt great. Not sorrow. I felt good that I helped them. Maybe just feeling sorry for a person isn't compassion at all. I felt great because I get to watch people's desperation as to where their next meal was coming from just float away. Watching desperation leave someone's body is pretty amazing. And knowing that you yourself did that feels pretty good. You know, their problem was solved. No desperation needed. Then I've mentioned before here on the Love Show that I also loved feeding people and watching color come back into their faces and brightness come into their eyes and a spring in their step and a smile on their face. I admittedly did not get enough thank yous, and that's one of many reasons that I don't run free kitchens anymore. But those smiles, those springs, the brightness, the color in their faces, they were my thank yous. The thank yous that were perhaps more real than anything they could have said to me. We often forget compassion for the compassionate. I mean, how many people went out of their way to love Mother Teresa? I loved her from afar. She made it her goal in life to love the unloved. That's compassion. So I've spoke before here on the Love Show about how I'm a medium. Being a medium is to be highly sensitive to all energies around you. I'm extremely sensitive to the energies of others, which makes me also an empath. I have found that you don't have to have a body to have feelings. You do have to have a body to be hungry. Most mediums, whether they know it or not, are also empaths. And perhaps only mainly empaths. Being able to communicate with a spirit is to empathically read said spirit. Feeling empathy for another living person is to also empathically read said person. Is empathy how we effectively communicate among the living? It is how we communicate among the dead. So, is empathy how we effectively communicate among the living? No. In fact, more apathy is found, particularly within the current political landscape. Is 2020 right before election day? But I think we are changing. I think we are waking up. Americans are waking up. The world is waking up. And as the world awakens, it becomes more empathic every day. We might just be in line to have our first empathic president. I feel Biden has a gift for empathy. Can everyone be an empath? I don't know. I think as humanity wakes up and finds love and consciousness and, yes, compassion, they just awaken to realize they are not alone here. There are other people here, and we are struggling from too many years of apathy. I think it would be a much better place if everyone was capable of being empathic. I think everyone is given the capacity. I think some just choose not to care about others. It's hard to believe that someone like Donald Trump could be empathic. But we can dream. And I think when you can shed all of your disgust and try to see a person for their potential, that is compassion. True compassion. But is it love? It sure isn't hate. I would say that it has to be a form of love. In researching for this show, I found almost nothing on the internet to back up my points. What I found was actually contrary to my points. I'll refrain from embarrassing these folks who wrote about love not being compassion because they are wrong, and because I have compassion for them and I won't mention their names. But I found one article that said love and compassion are not the same thing because you don't love someone you don't know. That was a quote. You don't love someone you don't know. Really? I love you. I don't know you. I loved all of those strangers that I fed. I'm a holy person, though. I have a high bar. I'm also a shaman, a healer. All the things that I am seem to go hand in hand. I wear many hats. But it's my sensitivity to others, my empathy, that makes love of strangers possible. And obviously, those are the things that make me a medium and a shaman. You don't love people you don't know. Maybe that's the problem with this world. If you don't love people you don't know, how do you ever get to know anyone enough to love them? Will you ever love anyone at all that way? It doesn't seem very likely. The biggest problem with these articles, the place they went wrong the most, was that these articles assumed that love and sex were the same thing. You know what they say about assuming? Don't assume, it makes an ass out of you and me. It's true. And we here at the Love Show have proved over and over again that love is not sex, and sex is not love. And this is why those folks who say compassion and love are not the same thing are wrong. Sex and compassion are not the same thing. Sex and love are not the same thing. But compassion and love, I feel they are the same. Maybe it's like percussionists and drummers. Not all percussionists are drummers, but all drummers are percussionists. There are many percussion instruments: piano, glockenspiel, anything you bang on, essentially, to make music. So yes, all drummers are percussionists, but all percussionists are not drummers. Dig. As if to say perhaps all compassion is love, but all love is not compassion. I don't feel that you have to feel sorry for another person to have compassion for them. I just feel that you have to feel. And I think you've got to feel love. Therefore, love and compassion are in fact the same thing. I think love and compassion are also like power and equality. We had 2 recent shows on power, love, is love power, and is love equality. And we found that you can't have real power or real equality without love. I don't feel you can have real compassion without love. Love needs to be in the room. Compassion is love for people we don't know. Compassion is how we love thy neighbor. Compassion is empathy, and both are love. Love! So is compassion love? Yes. Is love compassion? Yes. You heard it here. Get out there and be compassionate to someone you don't know. Or actually, maybe stay in and be compassionate to someone you don't know. Perhaps on the internet. Staying in is just one way we can show compassion for our communities. Is that love? You bet. We proved in our Is Love Wearing a Mask episode that love is wearing a mask. So stay in. If you have to go out, wear a mask, social distance, and wash your masks regularly. Throw away disposables in the proper place in the trash. Alcohol swab your phones regularly. There was a study years ago that said the most disgustingly dirty things in our lives are our phones and our steering wheels. So you could also alcohol swab your steering wheel. Right now, I really feel that is the best way to show compassion to our fellow humans. Have compassion. Wear a mask. Please find it in your heart to show some compassion. I love you and have compassion for you. Thanks for watching. Love!